Let me share with you my sourcing evolution from day one when I went into stores not knowing what the heck I was doing to current day, almost 3 years later. I just had my best month at around $80,000 in sales. So let's call this my sourcing evolution. And I thought it'd be really valuable because sourcing is the most critical part of an Amazon journey. And I remember what it's like to be new. And I get questions about this all the time. How do you source, style, technique, et cetera, et cetera? And really simply put, it just you get better at anything that you do repeatedly and consistently. But also, I want you to know that nobody just comes into this world as like a phenomenal sourcer. Okay. And so let me share with you, even someone that's doing well now, and so I still have a ton to go. Let me walk you through the journey. It's basically 8 steps, if you will. So, early days, step number one, I was doing retail arbitrage and I was going into stores completely blind. Okay. So I was doing what everyone recommended and scanning everything. And I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what brands to sell. I didn't know how to read Keepa charts. But eventually you do it enough and you say, okay, I think this is a winning product. Then you send it into Amazon, which takes forever because you don't know what you're doing to create a shipment, and it sells. And now you have a little bit of feedback and you just rinse and repeat that. But I remember, I want to be clear, the first week or so, 6, 7, 8 stores, not finding anything, not even realizing where I could find things. But I knew that so many people talked about this online and it made sense to me that it could work because arbitrage will always be a thing. I didn't give up, and I'm so glad I didn't give up. But I just want anybody to know out there that's very common in the early days to feel like you're just lost. You must be doing something wrong. You don't know what you're doing. I literally went to the stores blind. And the biggest thing I'll give myself credit for is I just continued to take action and consistently did that. And I would say just try different stores, even if it's 10, 15 minutes a day, or take a picture of a shelf and go home and research it on your phone or your computer. But that was step one. Next, I evolved a little bit and I was able to do retail arbitrage with like a shopping list or kind of knowing what I was looking for. If I found some winning products at one store and it was a chain, I would then go to other stores in hopes of finding those same products there. Also, I started to get into the grocery category, which was my favorite for retail arbitrage. And every week, my local chain, it's like a regional chain, Publix, is a huge grocery store, and I would go in for the buy one get one freeze. I would do research ahead of time, and then I eventually would create a shopping list. So I knew I'd go to 10, 20 locations. I'd buy these things, and while I'm there, I'm going to challenge myself to scan a new section today, even if it's 10 products. I'm also going to scan the clearance items on the shelves at each store because they all have unique clearance items. And that now opens me up to new brands, new ideas, new categories, new products, and starts to build a little momentum. So from there, now step three, I am basically doing RA to OA, I call it. I would be in stores, and let's use BOGOs as an example. And I would say, oh, wow, I'm getting this buy one, get one free. So this only cost me $5. It normally costs $10, and it sells for $15 on Amazon all day long, and I'll make $5 profit. I can only buy 8 here, but if I could get my hands on 100, I would buy 100. So then I said, oh, okay, well, why don't I look for more of this product online? Now, online, if it's a Walmart or a discounted retailer, maybe I won't pay the $10 retail and I can get it for $7, but I don't have to wait for it to be on sale. So yes, it's more than the $5, but it's still at a price that I can make $3 on it all day long and just have a nice replen. And now I can look for other items from that site or that brand or that category. And another example of just brick by brick by brick, building this up a little bit. So that was kind of RA to OA. Another example is like clearance items. When you would find them and you would say, some clearance items you have crazy markup, like 3, 4, 500% ROI, likely discontinued items, things like that when you get that type of margin or return. But you know that if you can get your hands on them online, you're going to do really well. So again, now I take my experience from RA and the little bit I've learned, and I use online just to kind of look for these specific items. So instead of just going into online arbitrage blind, I'm only shopping online for those exact things. Okay. Then I had a big inflection point in my business. Okay. About 2 years in, I moved from South Florida, which is very populated, flooded with brick and mortar stores where I was crushing retail arbitrage. In my first full calendar year, I made like $75,000 profit, mainly doing RA grocery. I moved to Asheville, North Carolina. Not nearly as populated, especially not nearly as many sourcing things. But further than that, I didn't want to be tied to a geography anyway. Okay. I knew how powerful the internet is. I knew I had the skills to do this online like everybody else. But it was scary because I transitioned to something that was basically really working for me, and I did it pretty much cold turkey. So a couple months before moving, what I did, and this was kind of the next stage, is I was manually sourcing. So at this point, I had a couple winning products. I was in vitamins a lot, and there was one brand in particular and one site in particular that was heavily discounted. And I would literally go item by item by item. I'm talking hundreds of this brand. It's a national vitamin brand. 1 pack, 2 pack, 3 pack, all these different keywords. And eventually I found a couple, but more than those, what I found, what it really did was opening my eyes. It might be boring, it might be tedious at that point in time, but it opened my eyes how much is possible out there. And I would get up early in the morning and put in a couple hours leading up to moving to Asheville, knowing this time was coming. And I'm really glad I did because nothing else, it really gave me that confidence to understand A, there's a lot of opportunity with online arbitrage, and B, manual sourcing, although tedious, is a great method because so few people are willing to do it. And whenever there's less competition, it creates a stronger opportunity for you. So then after that, I moved up here. I'm doing a little retail arbitrage. I'm doing manual sourcing, like I mentioned, which I had success with. And I heard everybody talking about reverse sourcing, and I got into that. Okay. And it worked a little bit here and there. It opened me up to some new products and categories. But because reverse sourcing, in my opinion, has become such a popular thing and so well known, I didn't find it to be such a great opportunity, not my favorite. But it did get me open, like I said, opened my eyes to some new products and categories. That was a phase I went through, and I still do it a little bit to this day. And then after that, I was really fortunate to come across some information online about Keepa and Product Finder. Keepa's Product Finder, where you can filter out products that are sold on Amazon. You can filter them to look for out of stock items. You can filter to do the grocery category. This exact sales rank or better, has keywords 2 pack. It's only this brand. All these different variations. This amount of reviews. And the trends of this product, like so much information, and Keep a Product Finder. It's my favorite way now to find products. Okay. So at this point in time, I've done RA, I did RA to OA, I've done manual sourcing and reverse sourcing. Keep a Product Finder is my favorite. But now at this point in time, I'm using a combination of everything, right? I've been doing this for so long, I have replenishable items and I know what are really good listings. And then I see who else is on this listing because they probably know what they're doing too. So there's a little example of reverse sourcing. Even though I'm probably not doing that blindly, I have all these good listings now, and it leads me to other good sellers and then whatever else they're selling. So that's a little reverse sourcing. Manual, I know a lot of good sites now because I've homed in on like 3 different categories like vitamin, grocery, beauty. So I have my 5, 6, 7 sites for each of those categories. I know exactly when the sales are going on. I know the combo codes to use. I know all these different little tidbits and tricks and things like that. I just know them so well that I'm able to kind of put it all together, combine Product Finder on Keepa with some reverse sourcing, then going in manual sourcing and replenishing and so on and so forth, that it just compounds like crazy. Not every product's are replenishable, but a lot of them you can buy repeatedly if it's a good listing once and something's unique about it. And so I've really, at this point in time, have just combined everything, and that's where I'm at. And now, just so you know, I put in about 2 hours of sourcing a day, super focused first thing in the morning because it's my most valuable task from like 7 to 9, sometimes 7 to 10. But because of the 3 years of work I've put into this, that's where I'm at now. I heard something recently where they talked about different stages. Is you basically have intensity, which is what I was doing so long, fighting and clawing my way to find products. And then there's consistency, just showing up every day, harnessing those products and taking care of them, which I've already found and did the hard part on. And now moving forward, I stay on top of those and continue to grow, slowly and steadily, day by day by day. By putting in the reps, you're bound to win, and you're only going to get better and better and better at this. But I will say, I know it's not easy early on. And you hear people that have success in doing huge numbers and you think you're a failure, or you must be doing something so wrong. If you carve out 2 hours a day, there's no doubt in my mind over an extended period of time, you will win at this. Nobody is such a better sourcer, such a better repricer, such a better arbitrage person, right? It's not hard. It's not easy, but it's not hard. Okay, it's hard work. It's simple, not easy. I hope maybe I misspoke or how I worded that, but yeah, that's the point. It's hard work, but it's simple at the end of the day. It's buying low and selling high. Stick with it. And by the way, I do want to mention for all of this stuff, the only ungating I did was grocery early on. And I've basically became organically and naturally ungated just with a good proven track record over time. And I saw great success with that. I know everyone has different things, and maybe it's different because I did RA and then OA, but don't get so caught up in that or think that that's the reason you're not succeeding. I promise you that things are out there. Okay. And if you're doing RA, I do highly suggest grocery. All right. So that's basically my transition from having no clue what I was doing to now putting in 2 hours a day. And my goal is to do $1 million in sales in 2023. And I fully intend on hitting that, if not surpassing that. If you told me that in the first month, I wouldn't even see how that's fathomable. And the more I do this, the more I know I'm just continuously scratching the surface. The biggest advice I could give you is just stay at it, continue to chip away and be consistent, and it compounds. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm Jonathan. Duke does Amazon. Questions, comments, topics, let me know. Have a great day. We're on Spotify as well as I'm going blank Instagram. Links in the description. There's also some coupon and discount codes below. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.